6-part series, we will look back at the career of Sean and see the highs and lows of bike racing. Get ready, it's going to be one hell of a ride. This is Sean's story. So yeah, just 10 days after the tragic event, I was back on track and I managed to get a ride with the Mills Racing team because my 125 had gone back to its owner. And just before we carry on, I would just like to say a massive thank you to Gavin Mills and Reg for letting me have a blast on the 125, and sorry for what happened to it. I'll explain in a moment. And also, I'd just like to say a big thank you to my uncle, my cousin, and a close mate of my dad's for coming down. For taking me and for coming down to support. It's really kind of you all. So yeah, I was so close to third place in the championship. We were talking, a few points, and unfortunately, though, the weekend didn't go to plan, and I ended up scoring no points whatsoever. I know. But yeah, from the minute I got on the bike, I didn't quite feel 100% comfortable. But I was comfortable enough to ride, so yeah, that was that situation. And in race one, I actually did quite a good race. I was battling for third with another 125 rider, and yeah, unfortunately on lap 6, the gear lever fell off. The actual gear lever bar had fallen off, a bolt had come out, and yeah, it was dangling. So that was the end of race 1, so no points there. And also that weekend I'd entered the 500 class again, just to pay tribute to my dad, really. And yeah, we were fixing the problem that we'd had with the gear lever, and the tyre warmers weren't on long enough. And I also missed the warm-up lap because we couldn't get the bike started. And yeah, it ended in a big crash at the first corner. I was starting at the back of the grid because I missed qualifying because the bike wouldn't start. And yeah, it just seemed like everything was not going my way. And yeah, the big crash at the first corner. I started at the back. I picked off 5 riders before the first corner, so I was absolutely flying. And anyway, just tipped in ever so slightly into the first corner. Not too much lean angle, and obviously with cold tyres, the front just let go like that. And so yeah, I'd gone down quite heavy. I'd lost the front. I was spinning around. I remember looking back and seeing a couple of riders and praying them not to run over me. And yeah, so as the bike went over the lip in the grass, it had lifted slightly. My foot had just gone underneath it, and it had come down on my foot, and yeah, I'd hurt my foot quite badly. And then all I remember was bouncing off my head about 11-12 times, and no, before you ask, it didn't knock any sense into me. So yeah, and I was unfortunately advised not to race, so no points from that weekend, unfortunately. So yeah, then 2-3 weeks after that, we went back to Mallory to see if we could have another go at trying to get this third place wrapped up now. The rider that was in third at the time, Kim Rose, who we mentioned in the last episode, she wasn't taking part in the last round, and it was a double points round, so double points round over 2 days. So I had 2 days and pretty much a race to do it in. So yeah, I knew I just had to finish third or higher to secure it, and just finish in the points for the last couple of races. And yeah, race 1 I crashed. Dear. So yeah, just before going out, there was a bit of rain. It had just started to rain, so we didn't have much time to change the tyres. And yeah, it was really bizarre. It was like the August round of the season previous, but it was a bit different because the top half of the circuit, so from Lake Esses all the way back round down Devil's Elbow, was absolutely soaking. It was wet, and the first half was dry. So anyway, it was tricky one. I managed to get a good start. I can't remember where I was starting now. I think I was on the second row of the grid, but we had split grid because the 500s were in our race, but we were doing split grids, so we were the second wave to go. And yeah, anyway, managed to get not a bad start. I think I was in third, going out the first corner, but the two championship leaders, Graham Wilson and Gavin Mills, weren't ready to push it in those conditions. They were thinking about the championship, and I had nothing to lose. You know, I had third place on the line, so I needed to push. And anyway, on the dry section, I'd managed to pass Gavin pretty much instantly, which for me was weird. That should never have happened. And anyway, I also passed Graham as well on that first lap in the drier section, because I was pushing on. My theory was, if I pushed on, got a bit of heat into the tyres, when it came to the wet part, obviously they'd cool down a bit, but they wouldn't cool as much as if they were absolutely stone cold, and I would hopefully have a little bit of grip. But I was stupid. That didn't happen. So anyway, going on to lap 2, I was catching the leader of our little race. So yeah, I was in second overall in our class and gaining on the leader. Sorry, second in our race, I was gaining on the leader. And yeah, on lap 2, I crashed on Devil's Elbow. I just let the bike over ever so slightly, a little bit of throttle, and the back end came right round on me. So yeah, I was absolutely gutted. I'd given me a bit of a whack and cracked my helmet, cracked my helmet, but I think it was already weak from the accident the previous weekend, and so yeah, I was absolutely gutted. But one positive though was I just got in the ambulance that was actually near the corner, and next year as I heard it absolutely throw it down. It was hailstones, but they were holding the riders for some reason at the entrance to the paddock. So I was getting nice and sheltered while everyone else was getting drenched in hailstones and rain, so I was quite happy. And then when got out of the ambulance, it was all bone dry. It was lovely. But unfortunately, again, my weekend was over. I'd absolutely mangled the right hand side of the bike. Apparently I put a hole in the crankcase, and yeah, I think I'd also snapped a throttle cable or something like that had happened, because the grip was just turning. So yeah, it was a disaster. But I'd just like to thank my dad's mate and my Uncle Dave for taking me down and coming to support me. I really appreciate that. So then the final race of the year and my career was on the was back on the R6, and we went to Mallory again for the race of the year. Going into the weekend, I wasn't expecting much. I just wanted to have a bit of a ride round and enjoy it, and it was a little bit tricky because it was quite windy that day, so we had a bit of a side wind, or is that what we'll call it? Side wind? Yeah, we'll call it that, on the pit straight. So we were coming down. Obviously the garages and the buildings would block the wind, but as soon as you got to the end of those, wind was just hitting you. So yeah, that was blowing me off course a little bit, and yeah, it was a little bit tricky fighting the R6 round there, but we managed to do it. I did a bit more training on the upper body, and yeah, it worked magnificently. I did feel a bit stronger, a bit better, and yeah, I don't think I did too bad. I had some good battles with a few 650 riders and some 600 riders as well, so yeah, it wasn't a bad way to round out my career. I actually just went ever so slightly slower than what I did on the 125 round there, so yeah, nothing to be proud of, but you know, got to put in the facts. So yeah, that was my career over. But just to end the episode, we're going to show you some highlights of my career with some pictures and a few videos, so enjoy.
Here he comes.
time on Sean's Story. So this present time I'm the presenter, producer, director and the main man here at ST Productions. So yeah, one of my future aims is to get ST Productions as big as I possibly can. Yeah, and I'll be giving it 110% to give you guys the best content I physically can. And yeah, I won't be giving up.